You know, one of the things I really enjoy about my job is that every job is so different. You know, sometimes you have a removal, sometimes you have a cleanup, sometimes you have just a total yard shape up, and you don't really know what you're going to get into until you get started. And today was quite a bit like that, you know. So I'm home, it's the end of the day. I had a good day. The client was really happy. And I think you're gonna like this one. It is quite a bit different than just about any video I've done before. Just hard to say. So, end of the day, I was ready for that. Well, that was last night, and it was after a long, hard week of different types of jobs. And this is what I woke up to this morning. You see, I like to do my video editing early Saturday morning, preferably before everybody else gets up. And I take all the video footage that I've compiled over the week and I try to put together a story about what I've just done. By the way, I've got my new iPhone, the iPhone 13 Pro, and the camera on this is amazing. A lot of the videos I do, I title Tree Decisions because as the arborist in charge of this job, the homeowner often says, do what you think is best. And from a distance, you look at this black oak, you think, oh, that's not a bad looking little tree, but let's go take a closer look at it. And I'll tell you what I'm thinking. So the base of the tree is long rotted out. There's so much decay in here, all the way down to the ground. It's all punky down in here. And I took out, there was a stump way up high here. I just broke that out because I needed to see how much active tissue and how much of the wood is supporting all this upper canopy. So I talked to the homeowner, and I think that the future of this tree is going to be dependent upon how much weight it grows up on top and how much decay continues to erode away at this structure right here. So taking this decay off here doesn't stop the decay. All I'm doing is making a decision based upon how much strength is left in this piece of wood. You can see it's got some active tissue curling up around the trunk here, and it's trying really hard to survive. So it's got some active tissue all the way up and around, but so much, it's kind of a race. What's going to win? The decay, or is the active tissue going to keep it alive? You can see at one time somebody thought it would be a good idea to paint tar over this, and you can clearly see that it did absolutely nothing. And it's been proven over and over again that tree sealants are virtually of no value, possibly for grafting, but they don't stop decay. They don't keep water out, they don't keep bugs out, and the future of this tree is going to be completely and totally dependent upon this race. So my thoughts are, I'm going to bring this tree down so that it doesn't get so tall that the winds bring it down. And hopefully we can keep this sort of a stunted bonsai of a tree that just survives rather than grows too tall. I know, it's a tough decision. I know, what would you do in a case like this? So back to the overall shape. I do know that they like looking out that window into the foliage here, but I'm afraid that the top of the tree is going to continue to grow taller and taller and taller, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that it's going to be a good idea to bring it down, round it over, and make this more of a mushroom tree that doesn't get quite so tall, because I do get some really, really serious winds through here. And if we get a big windstorm blowing really hard, let's say this thing gets, you know, another 15 or 20 feet tall, just the sheer weight of it is going to cause this weakness down here to likely fail. Now, I'm projecting, I'm looking into the future, I'm guessing. This is an educated guess, but I think this may be the best decision. And that's what it looks like after I took the top out. A bit like a big mushroom tree. Was it the best decision? I hope so. It felt like the right decision for me. The tree has a reasonably full canopy. It'll have to be contained because it can't get too wide. I think I'll do a little bit more weight reduction around the outsides, clean out all the dead wood. But considering the amount of decay in the base of the tree, I think that was smart. I hope so. And another tree on the same job is this black oak here. I don't know if you remember from about 4 years ago, Jeff and I got out here and we took off some great big limbs that were hanging down way too low. And there's been big limbs cut off in the past to make room for the house. This tree is definitely much older than the house. So today we're just kind of doing a little bit of opening up, a little bit of weight reduction, taking out the dead wood. It's not a radical trim. You can see how much brush we've taken out of the tree so far. A few branches here and there. And we're clearing the roof. This job is almost more aesthetic than anything else, but I'm sure they'll appreciate it. I live in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and there was a time that redwood was a principal economic factor of this area. And because I live so close to what used to be old growth milled lumber, it doesn't happen anymore, but once in a while I find some really old growth wood. This is a piece of redwood that's likely 100 years old, and it was stored in a barn, and I pulled it out and it was covered with rat crap and all kinds of stuff. So I cleaned it up to see what I've got here, and it's pretty interesting. Let me see if I can zoom in real close here. I'm going to count the growth rings here, but from what you can see, I am super close to this. And this is hundreds and hundreds of years old. I'm not even to the edge of it yet. So when I'm counting the rings on a really old piece of wood, I draw a line on it, then I use my magnifying glass. In this case, I used a white line to mark them. Look at those two marks right there, side by side. That's 10 years of growth. 10, 20, 30. I counted 220 growth rings on here. And I'm probably off by 4 or 5. But this tree, this section of tree, this little section of tree right here, which is only about 6 inches wide, has 220 years of growth rings on it. There's 220 years of growth rings, and this is a piece of siding that was used for a house that was probably painted. It's clear. There are no knots in it anywhere, all the way down. Clear, old growth redwood is such a rare commodity. They don't mill this stuff anymore. They don't cut down old growth redwoods, or they shouldn't be. So finding this stuff is so hard. And for the longest time, it was used for construction in San Francisco and San Jose and the Bay Area, all sorts of areas. They used this for shiplap siding. This is actually molded. It's thinner on one side, thicker on the other. There's a little lip down here. So it was overlapped. And most often it was painted, and the paint did preserve the wood pretty well. So it's rare to find a piece that has been in storage for such a long, long time. But this type of wood, it's kind of sad that they cut down those old growth trees. And it's even sadder that they didn't appreciate the age of these trees. A lot of these trees they cut down were thousands of years old. So if this is 6 inches of growth for 220 years, let's say this piece was cut down 100 years ago. Let's go back to 1920. So 1922, so if you count back to the halfway point, 1820, 1720, 1700, just in that much growth right there. So let's extrapolate and go the whole width of the log all the way to the center. And it's quite easy to recognize how old this tree was. So it's lumber now. It's kind of like ivory. You know, you have a beautiful piece of ivory. What are you going to do with it? Well, it's illegal to get ivory, but if you have an old piece of ivory, it's kind of sad that they killed an elephant to get that ivory, but it's something to think about. You know, what I didn't tell you is in order to count the rings, I had to sand it and polish it. I used my polishing cloths, and I brought this all the way up to 12,000 grit in order to delineate each of these rings so that I could count them clearly. Otherwise, it would have been, they're so tight together that it would have been almost impossible to count them. Oh, so the first thing everybody says to me is, what are you going to do with it? Oh, ye who lacks imagination. I've got a plan, and that's going to be a good one. I think you're going to like it. So I got off onto a job where we had some redwoods that were dying, and one of them had completely died. And it was quite a contrast to the old growth redwoods that I was just showing you in the wood. These trees grew relatively fast, but they were on the top of a mound, the top of a hill, so they grew slower than they would, with the exception of these trees over here that are off the edge where they got a little bit more water. So here's the tree I cut down, and I went ahead and built a bench. That's a hand-cut, hand-milled chainsaw slab without using any kind of a guide. I'm kind of proud of that. I actually used the chainsaw bar to clean it up and smooth it out, set it on there. These people seem to like it. It was a tough job. It was a long haul down a long, steep road. Lucy helped out on this job. All right, I got to tell you, she is the toughest woman you will ever run into. She is strong and persistent, and I can't say enough about Lucy. She's been with me for a long time. So this tree was probably about 40 to 50 years old, and it had died. And a lot of people say redwoods are immune to insects. Nope. Chainsaw tip, very important. All the stuff that gets caught up around the fuel and oil, you've got to be really careful. And if you open it up, be sure to pull out all that stuff before it falls into the tank, both the oil tank and the gas tank. You don't want it clogging the fuel filter, and you certainly don't want it clogging the oil port. Here's another idea. I think that a lot of you just buy oil in these cases. Rather than taking the whole thing off, put a small triangular edge on it. It slows down the flow. Here's something interesting. This is a live oak that has grown up next to a chain link fence. Actually, there's a couple of them here that are absorbed. This is kind of cool. Somebody recycled some wood from an old deck and decided to incorporate it into a shed. I thought this was quite clever. I like recycling and reusing old wood. This is an interesting job. This was, it was a full yard shape up, but a big part of it were these 10 liquid amber trees that had been butchered over and over and over. You see, the neighbors up the hill complained that these trees were blocking the view, so this group of people decided that, okay, let's appease the neighbors and let's keep them small. Well, after so many years, the rot and the decay and all the bad spots have made these trees incapable of supporting foliage that gets too tall. So I'm just maintaining the monster. So I'm keeping everything cut down and cut back and trying to keep it as green as I can without cutting it all the way back to the stubs. This is a view from the bucket. It's in a wooded area where a lot of high-end homes are. And if you look up here to the right, you'll see the house up the hill that needed their view so badly. They must not like trees at all. Except for that tree over on the right there, they've got a large deodar cedar. Let's zoom in here and take a closer look at that. Oh, that's kind of interesting. The trunk is on the left there and the top is on the right. What's going on? Oh, that tree was topped and a side branch grew out and it's developing another top off onto the right. It'll be interesting to see what that evolves into. Back up in the air, this is looking down on the mess that I've got to do. Well, I want to wrap this up with a little bit of a redwood tour. It's up in the hills of Felton, and this is not an old growth forest, but there are some old trees in here. They're significant trees, and this is from an old video. I think you'll enjoy it. So thanks for watching. And it sounded like something that would be fun to do, and I really wanted to expose my wife, who I think she has a little bit of a fear of heights, so I was a little nervous whether she could handle this or not, but I was very impressed with what she pulled off. She was very brave, and at the end of the day she had a blast. It's in Felton. It's up in the redwoods. There's a few old growth trees in this particular forest. And it was really fun. I mean, we got as high as 145 feet off the ground, and you're going from platform to platform. They have 6 zip lines up there, and you get to go across a couple of really nice bridges as well. There's one bridge that goes from tree to tree. It's quite exhilarating. So anyway, this is a good family day out. It was a good adventure. This doesn't really fall true with the rest of my tree videos, but it is indeed a tree video, so just sit back and enjoy the rest of our day. It was our Sunday family day out, and all's well that ended well. It was good fun.
Yeah, every now and then a little bit touchy. That cracks me up though. Alrighty, perfect.
Awesome. All right,
good job, Shell. That was fun.
Look at that smile. We're up here ways.
Don't drop it.
Don't worry.
Come on over.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
I've been doing that my whole life. It's worked out so far.
Probably not the best crowd to tell that to.
Come on up.
All right, can I hold on?
Yep, absolutely. One more step for me. There you go. Oh, there we go. All right, you ready to go? Would you like me to send you, or you got yourself?
Step down to the next one.
Yeah, if you take a step down, it'll help.
Yeah.
Yep.
Put your weight in. As soon as you get your weight in, you'll feel good.
All right, you ready?
Hold on, wait, hold on right here, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, let's see who's next in line here. Who's this? That's you? All right, you're next.
So that's fun every now and then. But
Yeah, that's gotta be hard.
it is. It's very hard. But sometimes there's at least one person with them that can speak a little bit of English. Perfect. Nice. There you go.
Job, awesome.
Well, how was that?
Really fun.
Good.
The longer ones are fun.
Yes, definitely.
There is water right here.
There's some waterfall out of
You want some water?
I'm good. Watch that hand.
I might have some right here. I don't want to drink too much. I'll need the bathroom. There you go. Scoot the stool around, babe.
Alrighty, watch that hand. There you go. Nice. How was that? Good. Oh, that one's super long. Yeah.
I can't see yours.
Break it set. She is clear.
This is the last one. Alright, I gotta sneak right behind you. There
Did you
we
feel
go.
the whole?
Huh?
Did you feel the whole thing rock when she got to the end?
Oh yeah, there's
Notice that?
Oh, so after we leave the next tree, you can feel it even more.
Good job, Phil.
What is the top speed typically?
It depends on your weight. So, yeah, it's probably around 30, 35-ish is the average. Perfect.
Thanks. I'm always afraid I'm going to fall off again.
Oh, you won't. Running pretty quick. Watch that hand. Perfect. Yeah, 2 months wasn't bad. I'm standing all the way up top. Yeah, it took us 6 years.
All the trees.
We do name some of them. So the last tree we were on was Tree C. We call it Tracy. But yeah, so all the trees were originally lettered. So we had like A, B, C, E, like all that stuff. And we only selected some of those trees to put onto our course. So we have A, B, C, H, E, K, and L on our course. So
ABC heckle.
Alrighty, watch that hand. There you go. And duck your head and swing on the other side. Alrighty, watch that hand. There you go. Tuck your lanyards behind your shoulder and then hang onto the railings. Makes it a little easier to get across.
Careful, it's a little
Walking
slippery.
backwards and they'll like turn around and like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah. You're like cracking me up.
All turn around so you can see our faces on the video for a second.
Okay.
Or just get a picture of us.
Here, I'll just turn it around and get us all.
I can also take pictures of you guys on the platform. So we can get a picture all together.
There we go.
Sure, video.
It's a video.
Okay. Cool, let's see you guys.
But I won't fall off.
Yeah, you will.
Technically will. Alrighty, watch that hand.
It's not getting any daintier.
You're doing just fine. Don't worry about it. You guys are all doing great.
Yeah, you come close to the trees, don't you?
There you go. Okay, bye. I'm kidding. No, turn yourself around. There you go. Just like that.
Just wasn't heavy enough, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Perfect. Nicely done. How's
Lightweights
that?
don't need a break.
Fun. It is kind of fun, huh? Lots of people wish they can come up short, but they don't. Alrighty, here, come over this. Don't grab the cable yet. There you go. Alrighty, grab that cable. Turn your back towards me.
Turn around.
There you go. Hand over hand.
All right.
I guess I was not going fast.
Here, reach
enough.
back and grab my hand.
Joel, the same thing happened to me.
Got it.
You lightweights.
Trying to stand all the way up top right
See, a
there.
big
Some of
fat,
us don't have that problem.
big fat boy like me, I crashed into the deck.
You guys are great.
Did Trent have that issue too?
You did.